What up, in unks and OGs worldwide? This is Mr. P coming in solo dolo once again, trying to be consistent and give you guys something to talk about. Fortunately, some of the unks and OGs been having technical difficulties joining me tonight, and for other obstacles. But we're gonna ride it out like we do. Make it do what it do. So today, what I want to present to you or talk to you is not something where I'm trying to present it not leaning one way or the other. Just present some information to you and let you do with it what you will. An interesting study in this political climate that we're uh, in today. Today is March 4th, 2026, and we are actively in the war with Iran. We are actively in a ramp up to the midterms with um, the Texas Senate race being decided, the primary last week, and you know, uh, with the outcome for that. So I'm not going to speak on that, but Ms. Crockett didn't get the nomination for the Democrats, and so now it's on to see how the winner of that primary does going forward in that Texas Senate race. It's important because of what's going on in the White House and the Senate and things like that. But we'll leave that commentary for another. There's a video I wanted to talk to you guys about. Happens to be in Texas as well. Let me share my screen, and it's me presenting to you what I think is a indication of what the future of politics will look like. We're moving back into an era of the Wild Wild West, is what I'll say, where you know people make laws up as they as they went along. There was no, the West wasn't settled, so for the most part, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do in certain parts of the country, in certain parts of the West, because we had no centralized government and no way of holding everything accountable. So it looks like, in my opinion, that we are heading back down that path. So let's share this video with you real quick, and I'm gonna leave the video with you, and then I'll give my closing commentary on it. But it's a very interesting video, interesting scenario. So shout out to I'm Not a Lawyer. Follow her on Instagram or whatever social media platform she has, but she does a very good job of breaking down what's going on here. And then again, I'll chime back in at the end of this video.
Man that had been sexually abusing his 13-year-old.
Let's start.
Y'all remember Aaron Spencer? He's the Arkansas father who killed the 67-year-old man that had been sexually abusing his 13-year-old. Child, he didn't won his election. I'm not a lawyer, but let me catch you up to speed. So in my last video on this case, I told you that Aaron Spencer's trial was scheduled to start on January 26th. And of course, Aaron Spencer is charged right now with second-degree murder for taking the life of 67-year-old Michael Fosler. And this all happened after Aaron Spencer woke up in the middle of the night in October of 2024 to find his 13-year-old daughter missing from her bed. Now, Aaron Spencer knew that Michael Fosler was out on bail because Fosler had already been charged with abusing Spencer's daughter. So Spencer wakes up, his daughter is missing, and so he immediately gets in his truck to go searching and ends up finding his daughter and Michael Fosler in Fosler's truck driving down the road. Spencer then proceeds to ram the truck off the road and then ends up shooting Michael Fosler 15 times, resulting in Fosler's death. So Spencer gets charged with second-degree murder, but while all that's going on, he also decides to run for sheriff for his county.
All right, so let's stop there for a minute. Make sure you caught up. Make sure you keep up. I can't remember if we spoke about this, but I did follow this story a little while ago about him catching the perpetrator with his daughter and him deciding to basically be judge and jury on his own. So I can't knock him for that, but definitely it's questionable what his motive was and what his intent was. Once he found the perpetrator with his daughter. So Uncle Lou is jumping in. Let me see, Uncle Lou, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Uncle Lou? I don't think you can hear me. I can hear you, Uncle Lou, but you can't hear me. We'll let Uncle Lou get his technology together. All right. And listen up to the video while Uncle Lou gets his stuff together.
And he built his platform on bringing trust, accountability, and safety back to the community and holding criminals responsible for their actions, particularly sexual abusers. And so yesterday, March 3rd, 2026, Aaron Spencer wins his election. So he's not the sheriff yet, but he is officially the Republican primary candidate for the election. And he didn't just win by a little bit. He had 54% of the votes, with the incumbent, John Staley, getting 27% of the votes, and then the last candidate getting 20% of the votes. And so what's next for Aaron is he will have to face off with the Democratic nominee, but he didn't do too bad on this. And in regards to his trial, it was supposed to start on January 26th, but it didn't because right before it was set to begin, Aaron's attorneys got the judge kicked off. Aaron's attorneys basically argued that the judge had been biased all throughout the proceedings for this case. And then about 2 weeks before it was set to begin, the judge, Judge Barbara Elmore, issued an order saying that during jury selection, only 20 members of the public would be allowed in the courtroom. And during the trial itself, only 55 people total would be allowed in the courtroom. And that 55 people included the defendant, the attorneys, family members, and the public. And it would all be done on a first come, first served basis, and that there would be no overflow room. So if you weren't in the first 55, you were just going to have to miss the trial. Now, you might be thinking that doesn't sound that bad, but Aaron's defense attorneys argued that every defendant has a constitutional right to a public trial. And they said that this order, limiting how many people could be in the courtroom, violated Aaron's right, especially considering the fact that the courtroom actually seats 75 people, not 55. And that doesn't even include the benches that are also in the courtroom. The defense attorneys went on to argue that the judge made this order, but nobody even asked for it. No one from either side filed a motion. No one requested a hearing on this. And there has never been some kind of security issue that would make something like this necessary. And so they said this is just another example of how biased the judge has been throughout these proceedings. They pointed out that early on in this case, the judge issued a massive gag order preventing any and everyone connected to this case from speaking publicly about the case. She also sealed the record from the public view and restricted the public's access to the hearings. And all of that was also done without a hearing. So when this all happened, the defense appealed to the Arkansas Supreme Court, asking them to overturn this gag order. And the Arkansas Supreme Court agreed with the defense. They said that the gag order was way too broad, and in their opinion, they warned that it seemed like the judge was trying to, quote, shield this case from public view. And so fast forward to this new order where the judge has now limited how many people can be in the courtroom during the trial. The defense attorneys basically said, here we go again. And so this time they asked Judge Barbara Elmore to recuse herself. Surprise, surprise. She said no. And so they again appealed to the Arkansas Supreme Court, asking them to step in and overturn the judge's order. And the Arkansas Supreme Court agreed again. But this time they removed Judge Barbara Elmore themselves. And so because of that, the January 26th trial could not happen as planned because they had to wait for a new judge. So as of now, Aaron Spencer is waiting for his new trial date. But in the meantime, he's officially the Republican primary candidate for sheriff in Lonoke County. Because why the hell not? It's worth noting that one of the big issues in this case was who the heck gave Michael Fosler bond after being charged with 43 counts of sexually abusing Aaron Spencer's daughter. Now, the defense in their motion to recuse says that for the longest, their understanding was that Judge Barbara Elmore was the one who gave him bond. However, after the Arkansas Supreme Court got involved the first time, all of a sudden they were informed that it wasn't Judge Barbara Elmore who granted bond. And so the defense asked for paperwork to support this. And for over a year, they never get it. They're even at one point told there is no bond order. And then eventually they're given one. But the one they're given is nowhere on the docket. It's barely legible. It does not have a case number and doesn't have any kind of file marking. And it's supposedly signed by some other judge. So the claim here is maybe some of this bias is coming from the fact that Judge Barbara Elmore may have been the one who granted bond to Michael Fosler. And hopefully the new judge actually allows streaming in the courtroom, because I think we all want to see this case. Y'all remember Aaron Spencer?
All right. So keep that. That's a lot of information. But basically in this case, again, the I guess the perpetrator, or I guess he would be considered the defendant of those charges at the time against Mr. Spencer's daughter, was given a bond and released. I don't know how Mr. Spencer found out about it, but he found out about it. And I don't know all the details of the relationship between the I guess he's the victim in this case against Mr. Spencer and his daughter, but apparently there was still some type of connection to him, or communication between them. And the daughter snuck out, be with, I don't know if she snuck out, cursed, but he found them two together, right? And then in whatever happened occurred, he wound up killing the guy, shooting him 15 times, So all that to be determined. But the crazy part is, in this day and time, despite your criminal history or what's going on criminally or what you've done, you can always run for office. You can always run for office. And, the lines have truly, truly been blurred between the political realm, what's acceptable for those who are running for office, what disqualifies people who's running from office, and, what gets people to back people. Obviously, the Republicans in Arkansas supported what he did. And I don't know, as an act of support, or whose idea was it for him to even run for sheriff, they felt like, hey, we want people, vigilantes, or we want this type of justice more prominent in our county. And so again, I don't know how big the county is. I'm thinking it's probably not that big a county, but whoever it is, people in that county said this is the type of justice we want in our county. So, hey, they gave the man the nod, and more than likely, his trial is not going to happen anytime soon. So, who knows? By the time the election happens, he might be sworn in as a sheriff and also a defendant in a murder trial. This is America, 2026. On top of everything that we're going on, this is just, a microcosm of what our environment is politically, what the environment is like for justice, for, the lines are being blurred in terms of our separation of church and state and our judicial system. This is what 2026 and beyond has to offer us. So, just drop this nugget real quick. You do with it what you will. But I'm pretty sure there's other instances of these type things that are going on in our political system around the country. So America is, in a tipping point where we are, peace is not necessarily what everyone is looking for. Let me just put it that way. From what I see, peace is not the objective. Disruption seems to be the motive of the month, of the decade, I guess, because we are we're halfway through 2020, this decade. So 4 more years before we exit this decade. Who knows what the landscape will be like? Who knows how many more wars will be in and bid through? Who knows how many more heads of state we will capture or dismantle, or regime changes that happen? Who knows who else has ascended to the highest levels of office? Who knows what this world will be like in the next 4 years when the decade rolls over. Once again, this is Mr. P, trying to represent for the Unction OGs worldwide. Just want to hop on here real quick, give you guys some content. Again, our goal is to try to be better. We're, in all honesty, we're not, we're failing at that right now. But again, there's also an opportunity for us to get better. So there's nowhere else to go but up. So again, shout out Unction OGs Worldwide. Please like, even though we haven't given you much to like and follow and subscribe, we will. Eventually we'll get there. Persistence is the way. Never giving up. Mr. P, gonna be back and better next week, maybe tomorrow. Maybe we can get the Unction OGs together another time this week. But until then, peace out. Appreciate you. Thank you for the watch.